And offer some prayers to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasudaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivasisha Shunyavadi Ashtatara Satanine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we're on page 580, and I guess I think only Mother Chandravali here has the book, so I can read first, and then perhaps Mother Chandravali can read next. And anybody else out there, just 5 devotees with us today. I think if anyone else does have the book, which I don't think so, but anyway. Okay, let's try and simplify things so we can all understand. Let's see how we go. So last week we were speaking about jhana, yeah, as a stage in Smarandas. Yeah, you're in Smarandas as a stage called jhana. So now we're speaking about anusmrti, also known as dhruvam smriti. Okay, here it is. The 4th level of remembrance is constant remembrance. Anusmrti or dhruvana smriti, so constant remembrance. A sadhaka enters into deep meditation. The ecstasy and success he experiences are addictive. And thus jnana becomes continue and known as anusmriti. So that means one's getting a taste. One becomes addicted to that experience that one is having in chanting the holy name. Yeah. Acharyas have likened anusmriti to a stream of oil. Do you remember in the beginning stages, we spoke the first stages of smaran is where sometimes you're successful for a couple of seconds in focusing on the Mahamantra, and then your mind's gone again. You try again and again and again, and then it goes. Now this is a stage where one, because of the ecstasy of it, one becomes addicted to it. So the Acharyas liken this to a stream of oil, or more aptly to a river in spate, an unending, uncontrolled torrent that empties into the ocean of Krishna's pastimes. Just like when you pour honey, it's a constant, yeah? In either case, constant remembrance is a flood of nectar, and its practitioner, the foremost of Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Hakya. Since the remembrance of Krishna's pastimes is continual, anusmriti displays the natural characteristics of being sequential. Such a sequence may or may not follow Krishna's daily 8-fold pastimes, depending on the expertise and spontaneity of the sadhaka. Yeah. Asta Kalya Lila Smaran. Yeah. So it may follow the sequential Krishna's pastimes, or it may not. You know, sequential pastimes, Krishna. The first thing he does is they spend Radha and Krishna together, then Krishna goes back to his place, then Radharani goes back to her home, and then Mayusoda comes to wake up Krishna, and there's whole pastimes there, and Madhu Mangal's there, and then they go out to take immediate care of the cows, like that. And then they come back, take shower, take bath, Krishna's dressed, then there's breakfast, etc. Yeah. Jiva Goswami quotes the following definition of constant remembrance by Lord Kapila. The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart, just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean. Such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Any questions or comments? Please feel free to ask. So it means like, just like you have a magnet, it attracts iron filings. So in the same way, the mind is just spontaneously attracted. You could almost say there's no effort on the sadhaka here. It's happening just on its own accord. That attraction is there. Yeah? It's at once attracted. The mind at once grabs hold of and becomes attracted to hearing about Krishna. Yeah? This is unadulterated devotional service. That's a symptom of it. We follow? I'm trying to slow things down a bit so we can understand what's being explained here. Sometimes we may have that, we may have momentarily those type of experiences where we're hearing some Krishna Gatha and we become attracted, we become happily attracted and absorbed to some degree. Yeah. Okay, unquote. Just as constant remembrance facilitates meditation on Krishna's pastimes, remembrance of Krishna's pastimes first facilitates constant remembrance. Okay. This is the dynamic of Raganuga Bhakti, a dynamic that will initiate some level of spontaneity even in the Vaidhi Bhakta. This is confirmed by the phrase manokiti anovichanna, meaning that the mind is at once attracted. All right.
You know, I can ask something.
Yes.
You know, when you see Krishna arranges so many things for you, then you sit back and you think, oh, I really want to do more for Krishna. How do you work on it? Because I'll give you, like yesterday's Rath Yatra, you know,
Yeah.
being on the
Wonderful,
car.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Huh?
And, you know, rain, rain, rain. We were soaked, whatever. And I was thinking, coming back to the temple, okay, I have to go to the tube, then 2 tubes and go. And I was really like ringing, you know, it was really wet, completely wet, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Krishna arranged the car I went in. She was coming back, dropped deities off. Then she was going to Stanmore. So I said, oh, you're going to Stanmore? Oh, maybe you could like just drop me off at Queensbury. You know how these things get arranged. So, so then you just look back and you think how Krishna arranged everything, you know. So then you want to
Yeah.
like, okay, what can I do for Krishna?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes Krishna allows us to be aware of certain aspects. There's a lot more he is doing that you're not aware of.
Mm.
You know, some things we become aware of, but he's doing a lot more. So that automatically leads to a sense of devotion. That's what devotion is. It's like it's in one sense, it's being very appreciative of Krishna. So the only natural thing after that appreciation is to please him some way. Yeah, is to serve him. Just like, for example, you know the story of the Sudama Brahmana,
Yeah.
who was living very poorly, and he was gifted with a great mansion and immense wealth, etc., etc. He was quite an advanced devotee because Krishna could entrust him with that level of material opulence.
Mm.
But he became more appreciative of Krishna. Not that he was attached to the material opulence, but realizing what Krishna had done in his life, he became more attracted to Krishna. He became more what we call fired up about Krishna. He became more appreciative. Yeah, so then it's an ocean then. I mean, how there's so many ways we can increase our the details of service to Krishna. But that's the wonderful reciprocal nature of devotion. Krishna reveals something, or we appreciate Krishna in some way, and therefore we feel we want to serve him. And then by serving him, Krishna serves his devotee more. And then it's just an ad infinitum, this reciprocation between the Lord and his devotee. Yeah. So this is good. Yeah, we appreciate what Krishna is doing for us.
Yeah.
As I said, but there's a lot more that we're not aware of that Krishna is actually doing for us. You know, you could say he's doing everything. He's the fire of digestion. He's the giver of intelligence, etc., etc. You know, he is the heat of the sun. He is the light of the moon. Everything is Krishna from one perspective. But it's very enlivening when we feel Krishna's reciprocation from a subjective point of view. When we feel it personally, and it feels like Krishna's taken a personal interest in us, even though we're tiny, insignificant jiva. Krishna's gone out of his way, in one sense, the master of all mystics, to arrange something in such a way that it's very touching.
It really is.
It's very touching, and it's very reassuring. It also increases your faith dramatically. Yeah. Therefore, you can tell other people. You can tell other people with heartfelt words that they should just depend on Krishna. They should give their life to Krishna, because you felt that Krishna's taking care of you, and you've experienced it. So therefore, you could say it with conviction. Just give your life to Krishna. Krishna's not going to neglect you in any way. Yes. Anything upon that?
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so you can do more reading, chanting, doing service, but if you really want to do something like really something different, I mean, like I'm scratching my head thinking, what can I just do to?
Wow, Krishna's what is saying Bhagavad Gita 9:26. Krishna's not very demanding.
No.
Patram puspam phalam toyam.
Yeah.
You know, my bhakti piti. Be different. Like you're not a sannyasi. You're not a temple president. You're retired,
Old lady.
renounced. So you would do something within your, you could cook something extra nice for Krishna. There's so many, you understand? So each devotee in their field, they can increase their devotion. Is a brahmachari might go out and spend more time on the street. Also, there's always one thing we can always increase in our quality anytime, and that's the quality of our meditation upon Krishna when we chant japa. Yeah, that's open at any time. We can always increase our, as this part of Sankalpa Kaumudi is speaking about that. We can always do that. We can reciprocate with Krishna by being really attentive to the holy name, not wanting to be inattentive. Yeah, we can all do that anytime. Yeah. All right. Let's read on a little bit more. Welcome, Mother Nitai Mata, Mother Gaya, Hare Krishna. Okay. Okay, let's read on. Scriptures including Srimad Bhagavatam praise continued remembrance for exhibiting the symptoms of pure devotion, including being free from personal motivation. All right, so that's quite a tall order to always remember Krishna and never forget him. That's what's being described here. Yeah. So continue remembrance, not just when we're chanting our japa, but throughout the whole day. Yeah. Again, just like the residents of the spiritual world, We're aspiring to be devoted. We're aspiring to be devotees. So the example is the residents of Vrindavan. You know, do you think Radharani forgot about Krishna when he left for the forest? Impossible. She was thinking of even more intensely. Do you think Mother Yasoda forgot about Krishna when he went to the cows? Do you think the cowherd boys forgot about Krishna when they went home at night? Actually, there's one prayer as I was reading where Shubal, even at night, he's always holding Krishna's hand in his dream. And he cries if he's even at nighttime, he is with Krishna holding his hand. Yeah. So that's the example. So we can be inspired by them, you know. Yes. A sadhaka is never hampered in or deviated from thoughts of Krishna, and would not exchange his devotional wealth for all the treasures of the three worlds. Because of his deep connection to Krishna's internal potency, and because of his blossoming attachment to remembrance, the practitioner is indifferent to material acquisitions and the miseries of the world. So it comes as a course. It comes as a natural course. There's no separate seminar you have to attend. Although you can read about Shankar Yoga and it helps to be detached, but that will come. What's that verse? By taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, one becomes detached from material things. One tastes transcendental pleasure. I forget it, but that. And yet Krishna is mindful not to bestow material opulence on his devotee, as was the case with Bali Maharaj. Where there is wealth and distinction, there is always a risk that a practitioner becomes distracted from his bhajan. Okay? Sukadeva Goswami says, quote, the Supreme Personality of Godhead did not award his mercy to Bali Maharaj by giving him material happiness and opulence. What did he do to Bali Maharaj?
He took everything away.
Took everything away. Yeah, bound him up, sent him to the lower regions, you know.
Yeah.
For these make one forget loving service to the Lord. The result of material opulence is that one can no longer absorb his mind in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why Brahmins, traditionally, they like to keep their situation, their living situation, their field very simple. Yeah. Very uncomplicated. Yeah. So they can better think of Krishna. That's why Bhagavatam also explains that we should, as much as possible in this complicated world, we should try and eke out a simple lifestyle. You know, try not to get entangled in unnecessary things. Any comments, questions here? It's easily said than done.
Well, as Jayadayat Swami said on the Vanpras, we have to start getting rid of extra stuff one by one. Like first you get rid of chairs and then sofa set, and then not replace it. So I mean, being ladies, we can start detaching from our pots and pans, because cooking, well, whether you go to Join Louis or any ordinary shop, the first thing is you start looking at the pots, which is good and which is not good, the kitchen stuff.
Yeah.
So
there's even a movement, it's called the minimalist movement, and these are persons who are not connected to a devotional service. Minimalists, if you look at online, minimalist living. So they endeavor to, their houses are very simple. Yeah. So a good point from Mother Rajkishore. So yeah, you'll probably think, probably some of you have hundreds of saris in your
get rid of them, just keep.
You can start renouncing some. Renounce of the hundreds of saris, you can start giving some to the temple. Yeah, that's a place to start. Yeah, practically speaking, yeah. Yeah, one time I had 15 dotis. It was too much. Someone other got to the point where I had 15 dotis. Now I only have 3. That's my thing. When I want to go to India, I just buy 3. If I get a new set of cloth, I buy 3. I don't buy 4. I get 3. That way, when I travel as well, it's easy to manage because I can wash one and there's another one ready, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have 2 because to manage it is a bit difficult just in case it doesn't dry for the next day,
Yes.
you know? So 3 is good.
So once we get rid of one item, then we don't replace it.
Yeah.
That
That's the
way,
thing, yeah.
it simply comes out.
Yeah.
Then
Because-
we learn to use the simpler ways.
Yeah.
Life
Yeah.
still goes on. We don't even miss them.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Especially if you're getting a taste from chanting, hearing and chanting, as it just speaks about here, then that will be natural for you. Yeah. Because basically we've been conned. We've been cheated by a materialistic society, convincing us to buy things that we don't bleed and need at all.
True.
You know, so many things, you know, gadgets or this or that, you know, that's what materialistic society is trying to brainwash you to get things that you really don't need, which just complicates things, complicates your life, complicates things. So simple living, high thinking. Yeah. Okay.
For you, it's easier because you got one color and one kind of clothes to wear, so it doesn't matter. You know, 2, 3 is enough.
Yeah.
Same rotating, same thing.
You can do the same. You can get 3 saris, simple saris.
Quite.
Maybe.
It's a little bit difficult.
No, I think the nature of I think we have to bring in the nature of ladies as well. It's different than men.
Yeah.
I think there's a nature there, you know. So, but don't go over the top, you know. You have to kind of have some boundaries, you know. Good,
Yeah.
and you know, don't become like a materialistic Hindu lady, you know. You know, have some boundaries. Sometimes you hear these things where someone's got 100 pairs of shoes or something. Some queen in the Philippines has got like 200 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
It's madness. It's madness, and that's what's destroying the earth as well. Actually, people having no sense of higher values, so their life is evaluated by how many things they have, not by the inner spiritual development. So that, in the meantime, is destroying the earth. You know.
It's true. Yes, it's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Okay, let's read a little bit more. Success in hearing of the Lord is possible in association of other like-minded saintly souls. By hearing from them, chanting with them, and exchanging realizations, a devotee can become proficient in constant remembrance, and thus taste a transcendental pleasure accessible only in advanced association. Now the Muni glorifies the benefits of such sadhu sangha. Quote, my dear king, in a place where pure devotees live, following the rules and regulations, and thus purely conscious and engaged with great eagerness in hearing and chanting the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in that place, if one gets a chance to hear their constant flow of nectar, which is exactly like the waves of a river, one will forget the necessities of life, namely hunger and thirst, and become immune to all kinds of fear, lamentation, and illusion. Okay. So Prabhupada's created that for us in Nasta Priyeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, in our culture of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Isn't it? It's quite an ingrained culture in ISKCON, isn't it? The morning class. It's part of our blood, isn't it? The
Yeah.
morning class is part of in every temple, and every country on planet Earth, more or less, every temple, they have the mornings, yeah, hearing and chanting about Krishna. So that's why we go to temples as well, if we, yes, constant flow of nectar. Yeah, sometimes it's not like that, but we should try as much as possible. Sometimes it can be a constant flow of criticism. Depends on, the specifics of our association. I find myself, I have to adjust my association. There's a couple of, there's some devotees that I know if I get together with them, it's just going to be, Gramya Gata, So I kind of politely kind of avoid that with all due respect. I have due respect and great, for the Vaishnavas like that. But because sometimes there's sometimes you'll find yourself speaking Prajalpa, or you might find yourself speaking in a negative way just by being with a certain person.
Yeah.
It just brings it out of you,
Hare
I
Krishna.
mean, yes, Nitai Mata.
I want to ask you, like,
Yes.
sorry, you have to bear with my voice. I want to ask you if someone very close to you, uh, also in that mood, but if you tell and that devotee thinks, oh, why you think like this with me? And because maybe that devotee cannot understand the mood.
Yeah,
And
you might want to try. Yeah, you might want to try just like show by example,
how
just like you speak more Krishna Gata, and you try and send the direction of the conversation in a Krishna conscious way. You just keep doing it.
I tried all
Let's keep trying.
all the time it goes back again, and then I say, listen, half an hour we just wasted. Let's do Chaurashtakam like this. I just say like something like that. And
Yeah.
but
So
what is
you,
in life, Prabhu? It becomes sometimes you don't want to lose the relationship because devotees are in everybody's all are devotees. So how are we going to get out of this?
yeah, it sounds like you. I also quite sick as well today. Nitai Mata, it sounds like you're quite sick there. Might be similar sickness going around. Anyway, I hope you get well soon. You sound quite sick. Yeah, I mean what we're speaking of, what I'm reading here is the ideal. But most of us are not always in the ideal situation. What can we do? We're not like living in Vrindavan with some Uttama Bhaktas, we're not like Babaji's,
we
where
not
we are
doing
in the world. There may be family members as well, where we're obliged to, just because of family relationship, we are obliged to be within their association. So it might not be the best, it might not be ideal, but you just gotta, as much as possible, try and be more Krishna conscious yourself. And that would inspire others, So try that and just try and be more. Yeah. What can you do? I think a lot of us also, perhaps some of you here today, probably, you got your family situation and your husband or whatever, the wife might not share the same attraction that you have for Krishna. So what can you do? You can't leave home. You can if you want, but it may not be advisable. So just do your best, and just do your best and get as much devotee association. Get as much direct association with devotees who are speaking Krishna Gita as possible, knowing that you're not always going to have it. You try and get as much of it as you can, knowing that the next 2 days you're not going to get much of an opportunity for it. Because this situation, that situation. Yeah, no, Krishna will protect you as well. All right. All right. Shall I, Mother Chandravali, would you like to read? I'm hogging all the reading here.
No, it's okay. You carry on because we're discussing. It's
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Which page are we? I'm lost now.
584.
Yes.
All right. So the third truth of hearing pastimes is, which of the Lord's sports the saints have recommended above all others? All right. This is described in detail when we read Sudha Bhakti Chintamani, but let's see what comes here. Great devotees say that the pastimes of Krishna and his incarnations, as described in the Vedic literatures, are the best. Of those sacred texts, the pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam are considered superior, because it is both the essence of the Vedas and the spotless Purana. Among the pastimes glorified in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's pastimes are superlative, because as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these pastimes alone can award the supreme benediction. And because Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended to make known and available the sweetness of Raj Leela, those are the most worthy pastimes of Krishna to hear, chant, and remember. Yeah, so Prabhupada gave us the Krishna book. Specifically, he gave that before he kind of did a tactical stop of his translation of Bhagavatam and did the 10th canto summary Krishna book, just in case he might pass away. So yeah. All right, so Vaishnavas opine that the chapters spoken by and about the gopis are better still. Yeah, that's generally what you're going to, the direction of our acharyas. You can see that. And while the transcendental comparison of all Vrindavan pastimes confirms that Gopi Leela manifests the fullness of truths and the pinnacle of sweetness, topics for remembrance cannot be mandated, just as spiritual attraction cannot be legislated. Avihotra Navayogendra argues that a devotee's preference is his prerogative, one that is to be confirmed with his spiritual master. So, yes, having said that, Gopi Leela, but having said that, it cannot be legislated or mandated. Someone may have a natural attraction for another aspect of Krishna's pastimes. Yeah. I remember as one devotee, he was always in the ashram Brahma, he was always would speak about how he would so like to be on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and to see Krishna fighting. that was his goal. That was his bhava, if you want, you know. He was speaking, it was so enfolding to him, Krishna as Parthasati. So that's his attraction. Yeah. They can't say, no, you can't, you should just meditate on Gopi Leela. No. Cannot be legislated. It cannot be mandated. But we see from an objective point of view that the Gopi Leela gets a lot of attention from the Goswamis, from Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, from Baladev Vijayabhushana, from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. You know, that's their specific main glorification. But it doesn't mean I don't glorify other pastimes. Just like, I don't know if devotees this thing I'm doing at the moment. Govinda Viruddhadvali. Wonderful prayers by Rupa Goswami. And he goes everywhere. One sentence he's glorifying the gopis. Next sentence he's glorifying Krishna's killing the demons. Next sentence he's somewhere else. He's all over Krishna's pastimes. The next sentence he's speaking about Lakshmi and Vishnu. Next sentence he's speaking about Krishna blowing his flute. Next sentence he goes back to Krishna killing the Kaliya. It's like his spontaneous mood is just, at least in that prayer, it just goes everywhere. You know? Yeah. Questions, comments? Okay. Quote here from Not sure where. Number 28. Let's look. All right, comes the end of the chapter. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:348. Having obtained the mercy of his spiritual master who reveals to the disciple the injunctions of Vedic scriptures, the devotee should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a particular personal form of the Lord the devotee finds most attractive. Okay, what you find most attractive. Yeah? Thus, some devotees will prefer to remember Krishna as the son of Yasoda, others as the friend of Shubhal, and still others as the beloved of Radha. And a few, like Anupam and Murari Gupta, will be attracted to a Vaikuntha deity like Ram or Narayan, for they too are exquisite and attractive in their own way. This is the way in which a Vaidhi sadhaka concludes on what pastimes to hear. By doing so, the effect of those pastimes will be to gradually infiltrate his Nam Sankirtan, and preceded by the appropriate form and qualities of the Lord, they will make their own gradual appearance. Okay. So naturally, the faults of these pastimes will come based on what one is hearing and chanting. Yeah. And whatever form of the Lord the devotee concludes is best for him is best, at least until he concludes otherwise. All right. Everyone's with us?
Because then
Okay.
he moves on to whatever directions they're moving.
Yeah. Absorbed in Nam Bhajan, a devotee's identification as a specific kind of servant of Krishna becomes increasingly attractive and increasingly dominant. So now we're going on a bit. I think we're going now to a Shakti. Now things are becoming a little bit more specific. A bit more specific. So a specific kind of servant of Krishna becomes increasingly attractive and increasingly dominant. For the sadhaka following the Rajrasis, so this is a sadhaka, okay? It means he's a practitioner. Yeah, he's not at a stage of perfection. He's practicing. He's practicing. For the sadhaka following the Rajrasis, his inclination to a gopi or gopa, young or old, indicates readiness for a certain form and service, which naturally become an aspect of his remembrance. These form and service are two of the 11 bhavas that define a resident of Raj, gopi or gopa and gopi. When he attains ecstatic devotion, a devotee will confirm or modify those bhavas and also realize the other 9 in consultation with a suitably qualified spiritual master. Wow, there's a lot in there. Hare Krishna. Okay. Any questions here? This is anusmrti. This is quite an advanced level of devotional practice that's being spoken of here. Yeah.
Prabhu, can I ask
Yes.
you to read that bit again, Prabhu? Sorry.
Yes, I'll try and paraphrase it. So to aid one's absorption in Krishna, there's a verse in the Nectar of Instruction that Maharaj often quotes, that this remembering Krishna's pastimes throughout the day is practicable by the siddha and the sadhaka, or remembering a specific associate of the Lord. So if it's a sadhaka, they may feel a particular attraction to a particular servant. So they'd like to become absorbed in that. Now, as they get further purified, when their natural relationship is actually revealed, what they was meditating upon may be, he describes here, may be modified. You follow it? May be modified. But that's what Rupa Goswami describes as a means for becoming more Krishna conscious, is to meditate upon Krishna and his associates, especially if one has gone the first verses, Achara,
Prabhu,
yes. But in consultation with a suitably qualified spiritual master.
Prabhu,
Yes.
we always say Krishna, Krishna. Can we think like this about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also?
Yeah, actually, funny I just was reading recently. I think as you mentioned this before, yes, we can. But
Yeah.
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what does he remember?
Krishna.
Krishna. And what's he teaching us to do?
Remember Krishna.
To remember Krishna. But it
Okay.
doesn't mean you can't remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but but by remembering him, then we could see he's Radha and Krishna. So then we will also be spontaneously attracted to Radha and Krishna. I'm just trying to find, I might not find it. I was reading it. No, I won't find it. It'll take too long. But yeah, I just read that recently in the Adi Leela chapter 7. I don't know if I'm answering your question. Yeah, you can think, and there is a smaran for remembering Lord Chaitanya, for instance, before one chants japa. There's a book by Vishnu Thakavati Thakur who gives a smaran for remembering the Lord Chaitanya's waking up in the morning and he washes his face and describes his bedstead, and he wakes up in the morning and he goes to take bath, and there's a so some Vaishnavas will practice that smaran before they meditate upon Krishna. And we chant Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. But Lord Chaitanya, if you read about Lord Chaitanya, then you can't help but think of Krishna, because he's completely maddened with thoughts of Krishna. and you know, we read about Lord Chaitanya, he just so absorbed in Krishna. So that's what he's teaching us to be. Is
Yeah.
okay? Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhu. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Also to note here that this is at the stage of practice, a sadhaka. The meditation is very general, very general. It's not specific. And you should in no way, shape or form imagine yourself to have a particular form or clothes, or you shouldn't. That is against the laws. You shouldn't go there. These things will come as a natural course. This is called sahajism, where you imagine you have a particular type of sari. It's got this blue with red stars, and you know, and you live in this household. These things come off. These things are gifted. So the meditation is very general. I am the servant. I am attracted to Shubha. I really like the way he interacts with Krishna. You know, so it's very, very, very general. It's not specific. Yeah. That's why one's devotion. Sometimes devotees at these higher levels, they can become deviated because of an incorrect understanding of these fine points. And they imagine themselves to be a particular gopi or gopa. No. No entry. Very general. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Bhagavati Thakur says that the very power of remembrance, including a devotee's awareness of his spiritual identity, is made possible by the Lord's Anusmrti Shakti. This is the potency by which living entities closely inspect or investigate. When applied to bhakti and specifically to smaran, it is a natural inquiry into one's original identity and the contemplation thereof. Krishna also says, Sivashacha Ridi Sanivishto Mata Smiti Ganam Apohanam Cha. I am situated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Okay. Thus, a devotee's ability to know his constitutional position is completely dependent on the Lord's mercy. Even the actual power of remembrance is possible by grace alone. A sadhaka may show eagerness for such attainment. However, if he is not qualified for Krishna's mercy, Artificial attempts to impose such realizations will be futile. Not only will they not bear fruit, they will be counterproductive and jeopardize the health of the devotional creeper. For this reason, advanced spiritual guidance is more than helpful. Okay, so Marge is just the same point I just made, yeah? If for some reason a devotee is qualified for mercy, yet does not have access to a qualified spiritual master, then Krishna will direct the devotee from within his heart. Right? So we will not be bereft of direction according to our qualification. We may be blessed to have such exalted association, but circumstances may mean not. So therefore the Chaitya Guru will give you instruction. Maharaj explains here, Shavasya Chaham Hridi Sanivisto Matasmati. In this regard, we may refer to Krishna's own statements in the Bhagavad Gita and their clear commentary by Chakravarti Thakur. To avoid extensive repetition, we summarize here the essence of these verses and the Acharya's teachings as reproduced in their entirety in Appendix 6. Right. We won't go there, but it's in Appendix 6. So we'll just carry on here. Any questions or comments here? I'm doing all the talking here, but if you've got any questions or comments. Okay, let's finish this chapter. There's one page left. The Lord's instructions addresses the unmotivated devotee absorbed in Nam Bhajan and fully immersed in remembrance of his attributes. How will this devotee proceed without external guidance? How will he realize his Sarup? How will he attain Krishna's full mercy? Krishna answers by saying that even without being asked, he will give devotees instruction from within. He will reveal the devotee's Sarup, and he will bestow his mercy by his personal appearance. Such dedicated devotees need not worry, ma suchaha. I think Maharaj mentions elsewhere that it can come from the holy name itself as well. The holy name will reveal everything. Yeah? Devotee may guide you in that way, may come from within, it may come from the holy name. When Krishna's name is chanted with love and his form, qualities and pastimes remembered with affection, a sadhaka attracts the attention of the Lord. And because these attributes of name, form, qualities and pastimes are part of his constitutional nature, their bhajan impels Krishna to become absorbed in affection for his devotee. Yeah, you think of Krishna, Krishna thinks of you. Yeah. When a devotee thinks of Krishna's love for him, he becomes more absorbed in Nam Bhajan, so much so that even hearing a part of the Lord's name swells the tide of his love for Krishna. Lord Shiva tells his wife, quote, "O goddess, whenever I hear any word beginning with the letter Ri, love is awakened in my heart because I think it may be the name of Rama." Unquote. In this way, true to his promise, Krishna plays the role of the Guru and bestows the fruit of loving devotion to him. This chapter has described the 4 stages of Smarandas, the development of the holy name through those stages, and how the attributes such as form appear by the grace of the name and become more pronounced with deepening remembrance. Furthermore, we have described how the regular devotee can gradually acquire spontaneity, and the spontaneous sadhaka will develop attraction to specific name and form of Krishna, and these corresponding qualities, pastimes, and associates. We conclude our study of Truvana Smriti by emphasizing that the attainments of each division of Smarandas are cumulative, which means that the attainment of each division, such as the attainment of Smaran, is contained within every successive stage, such as in Dharana. Thus, Truvana Smriti possesses the attainments for the first 4 levels of Smarandas. So it just becomes more and more thicker and condensed. It just expands more and more. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So if we chant attentively and like 200%, all this will come online, yeah? Is it what we are saying? Isn't it, Prabhu? If
Sorry,
we
my nose.
if 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 we uh, if we chant attentively, like 200% concentration, so these all things will come.
Yes, yes. That's then, and the more we chant attentively, then the quicker it will come as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the quicker it will come. But also we should, as much as possible, we should want to get the guidance of Vaishnavas, yeah, especially those who have been practicing bhajan for 40, 50 years. It's nice if we can hear from them as well. It may be more, depends on the questions you want to ask. It may be more suitable in a private type of darshan.
Oh.
So yeah, but in essence, that's what is being explained here, that all these different, the subtleties of this guidance and the inspiration, it comes from a combination. Yeah, Krishna within the heart.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think we have to see that, you may have a spirit, as we see, Bhakti True Swami is no longer with us, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, all our spiritual masters all our senior devotees will be passing on.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
where will we get instruction from? Point here is that we will not be bereft. Krishna will make sure, according to our level of attainment, everything will be supplied to us. Hello, hello. Hare Krishna. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, any other questions? Also, otherwise, perhaps we can pause because it's the end of the chapter, and we got there's 5 minutes left. If there's any questions on this point? Otherwise, we can just begin the next chapter next Monday. Hopefully, I can be. Well, have a next Monday. I'm traveling from Scotland to Leicester, so hopefully, at this time I'll be behind the computer.
Prabhu, you sent that Govind Lilamrut, that was on the Sankalpa Kaumudi. On the top, it was written Sankalpa Kaumudi. And down below it's welcome to Govind Lilamrut. So
Oh,
is it two separate books, or is it two just within each other? Or?
are you speaking about something I read today?
Well, no, when we switch on the Zoom, there's first of all, before you start, that little box comes up.
Okay.
And it will say Sankalpa Kaumudi. And then down below, there's something to do with Govinda Lila Amrut class is going on, or something like that.
I can't see that. I don't know what it says. Perhaps I'll have to look on my Zoom account. I forget what it says. What did I?
But there are two different books. It's not the same book, is it?
I'll have to look what I put there and get back to you. I can't remember. I think I'll put a verse there, which is from the Govinda Lilamrita.
Oh, I see.
I think, yeah, Govinda Lilamrita, which we quoted in Sankalpa Kaumudi. Yeah, sorry, I can't give a complete answer there. I left it.
Okay.
All right.
I just worried that is it two together or two separate books, and they just brought them together.
Govinda Lilamrita is a separate book. It's a book in of its own right, so to speak, by Krishnadas Kaviraj. That we know, and Sankalpa Kaumudi is we know it's another book.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's pause there then for today. And any announcements to make? We're trying to roll it. You're muted.
Okay. Are you here this week? Or?
Yeah, I'll be traveling on Wednesday, but I'm traveling early on Wednesday, so it should be Tuesday. Yeah, I'm here tomorrow. Our plans changed slightly. So we're supposed to be traveling now, but we had to change our plans. So I shall be here tomorrow.
Okay.
I shall be there Wednesday and hopefully Thursday.
Okay.
Krishna willing. Hare Krishna. Okay, Franco, everyone. I hope this discussion was of interest and given us some inspiration in our spiritual life. we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot to aspire for. Hare Krishna. Hopefully Krishna be pleased with us for reading this subject about the science of devotion and absorption in our bhajan, and we might be blessed to become a little bit absorbed in what we're reading here, you know. We can only beg, you know. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Gaura
Prabhu.
Premanandi, Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Everyone ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.